Welcome to this video information session for the ReBuild NC Strategic Buyout Program. During this presentation, we'll discuss the following topics. What is the ReBuild NC Strategic Buyout Program? How did we select the buyout zones? Who is invited to participate in the program? Program eligibility requirements, the application process, and the award methodology. North Carolina has been repeatedly impacted by devastating storms in the past 4 years. After Hurricane Florence, Governor Cooper established the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency, or NCORR, to run the ReBuild NC program. ReBuild NC is funded by HUD through the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program and is expecting additional funding through the Community Development Block Grant Mitigation Program. ReBuild NC has provided repair assistance under its Hurricane Matthew Homeowner Recovery Program and is now launching a strategic buyout program. What is a buyout? A buyout is a mitigation activity where the local government buys a home that has been storm damaged or is likely to be storm damaged. The local government becomes the owner of the property. Any structures on it are demolished. Going forward, the property can only be used for green space or a community amenity. There are multiple other buyout programs happening in North Carolina, including FEMA's Hazard Mitigation Grant Program and state-funded buyouts. The ReBuild NC Strategic Buyout Program currently has a budget of $25 million tied to Hurricane Matthew. We are launching buyout zones in communities across North Carolina. In order to be eligible for this program, you must own a property within a buyout zone. How are the buyout zones selected? We used a data-driven and collaborative process between NCORR and local governments. We looked at flood zones, inundation depth, and other damage indicators. We also looked at interest or activity for other mitigation projects. And finally, we looked for concentrated areas of single-family homes and properties that border each other. Let's take a look at the eligibility requirements. To be eligible, a property must be located in a buyout zone. Properties that may be eligible for our program are single-family properties that have been owner-occupied since Hurricane Matthew, rental properties that have been owned by the same person since Hurricane Matthew. If the property is a manufactured housing unit, the applicant must own both the land and the structure. If there was a structure on the property before Hurricane Matthew that has since been demolished, this property is also eligible. The property must have been damaged by Hurricane Matthew and owned by the same person who owned it during the storm. If a property has been inherited since Hurricane Matthew, it may also be eligible. Owners must be able to achieve a clean title. If there are multiple owners, all owners must agree to sell. You must have owned the property during Hurricane Matthew and still own it today, and you must be current on property taxes and be able to retire the mortgage at the time of buyout closing. At this time, we are unable to buy out the following property types: contaminated sites, commercial structures, condos, duplexes, or housing developments with property restrictions. Each award will be specific to the property and ownership. To come up with the award amount, we will appraise the property to determine how much it was worth before the storm and compare it to how much it's worth now. We'll also review any repair or relocation assistance received from FEMA or other sources because of the storm. We'll inspect the property to determine a value for any repairs that have already been made to the property. ReBuild NC buyout case managers will be assigned to applicants to serve as a resource throughout this process and will be able to answer specific questions. In addition to the buyout award, you may be eligible for up to 2 incentives to receive up to an additional $60,000. The first incentive is the affordability incentive. You could get up to $50,000 to assist in the purchase of a comparable home in your county. There is also the risk reduction incentive. You could get $10,000 if you relocate to an area of reduced risk within your county, or you could get $5,000 if you relocate to an area of reduced risk within North Carolina. So what are the next steps? You can call 833-ASK-RBNC to schedule an appointment to talk with a ReBuild NC Center intake specialist or case manager. You can also get more information about the Strategic Buyout Program and view the buyout zones by visiting www.rebuild.nc.gov/buyout.